Coming up on today's edition of the Art Marketing Podcast, the Instagram DM feature that automates your artist marketing while you sleep. Specifically, without question, the most powerful new marketing feature of the entire year, without question. Some history and context, and then marching orders on how to use it immediately in your business starting today. I think I've mentioned this on the podcast in the past, but it's like, if I have one superpower, it's finding new and emergent technological trends, playing with them, understanding their value, and getting there way before most people do. The vast majority of people do. Now, the good news, well, I should say this is good news for us. The bad news for me personally is I also usually find these things first, get bored with them, and then promptly move on to something else right before they go parabolic and turn into gigantic world changers. I.e., when I used to buy Bitcoins for $12 a piece on eBay to buy computer stuff with. I mean, do you realize if I would have just kept a couple of those? Lesson learned. Anyway, why am I bringing this up right now? I found a new one in the form of a feature. I got there. This is really only 2 weeks old. I've been testing it. It's amazing. I feel like I need to tell you about it. I have to tell you about it. I have to tell my loyal listeners about this because it's insane. Before I do, though, I need to give you some history first. So I'm going to start with some history here. And, it's funny because it'll reinforce my aforementioned superpower about getting to the party early. So back in 2016 or I think 17, I started using chatbots to do marketing. Okay. Back then, it was Telegram, and was Discord around back then? I think it was. You could even argue that like chat in terms of an interface, goes all the way back to like AIM, from AOL and chatting that way. But anyway, Facebook back in the day, this was like 16, 17, opened up Facebook Messenger as a platform. And Facebook Messenger, it was like inside of Facebook, and then it was a separate app, and it was basically a chatbot app that Facebook owned, right? And then back then, this company emerged called ManyChat that allowed you to essentially build bots for Facebook Messenger, right? And it was glorious early on, you guys. It was glorious because it was new and emergent technology, at least in the United States. And Facebook didn't really know what to make of it, how to use it, how to leverage it. So the rules were super loose. I mean, it was the glory days. So back then, though, in terms of like bots or this notion of chat bots, basically using chat as an interface to get things done, i.e. you can chat to it, you can click buttons, there's links, videos, all of that stuff. That was so super novel back then in 16, 17 in the United States. It wasn't really a thing at all. Now in China, on the other hand, okay, we would hear these stories even back then about, let alone now. I mean, now where it's just like you can't even live your life there apparently without it. But back then, about how you could basically do anything in a chat interface in China. Instead of websites, companies would have bots. If you needed to make a dinner reservation, you would just open up this app, WeChat it's called over there, and you would make a dinner reservation. Or if you were ordering takeout, or if you were paying an electrical bill, instead of going to a website, you would just do it all inside of this chat bot. Or if you were picking up your dry cleaning or ordering a dog walker or transportation or booking travel, all of it was done inside of a chat bot. And we would hear that for years and years in China, right? It was all available via one chat interface. It's basically like the entire internet inside of a chat bot in an app on your phone, right? Which is how it is in China right now, by the way. And I would hear those stories back then and I always wonder, like, why are they so advanced with that? Why did they have that? Why do we not have that? And it turns out that Chinese Mandarin is a logographic language. It's not alphabetic. So it is not exactly easy to type, okay? Think cell phones, keyboards, that kind of a thing. Some of these characters have multiple different meanings and nuance. So that was the huge reason that drove chat adoption in China. It sort of acted as a forcing function. And once it took off, it just kept taking off. Like I said, nowadays people talk about, I see tourists every once in a while talking about, like, God forbid you lose your phone or you can't get around out there without it. If you're an employee and you go over there as an expat or whatever to work in a company, you have to get this immediately because your credit cards go in there into your whole life. Okay, great, whatever. Why am I bringing this up? The chat interface, I believe, really started coming to America via ManyChat at scale with Facebook Messenger. Again, this was like 16, 17. And back then, immediately I dove into it. I sorted it all out. I started using it to grow art storefronts, to help customers market their art. And it was absolutely amazing. Okay. It was amazing the results I was getting with it back on the day. And I was so early to it back then, per my superpowers. I published a bunch of blog posts on the Art Storefronts blog. They're still there, actually, like how to run contests with ManyChat and a couple other ones. And because I was so early to that, these blog posts continue to drive a ton of traffic to the Art Storefronts blog, organic traffic, just because I published them before anyone else did. And I loved it back then. I loved it as an interface. I thought it was like so incredibly powerful. It's amazing what you could achieve. It's a better experience, even back then when it was just on Facebook and just in Messenger. And then fast forward probably, 6 months, a year, marketers do what marketers always do, which is we absolutely ruin any particular marketing channel that's working. Back then, it was treating Messenger, which Facebook back then deemed to be a very important product for them, treating Messenger like it was email. And the nature of the updates, the messages that you would be able to send, they sort of behaved, even now, like text messages. So when you would send a message, it's not like an email. You send an email and it just sits in someone's email inbox, right? There's no disruption to it. When you go to your email, you see it. Okay. What would happen on Messenger is most people had their notifications turned on. And so these messages would come in like text messages. Bing, the phone would vibrate, the notification would go on the home screen, the whole deal, right? And so marketers just started abusing it. And Facebook's like, okay, hold on. We entertained this little experiment about what chatbots and ManyChat can be on Messenger, but we're shutting this party down. Okay. So they completely shut it down. They basically eliminated all the cool about it. And this notion of chatbot marketing and doing so on the social platforms where everybody spends all of their time sort of went into this period, the trough of disillusionment, right? You know, if you would have looked at the Google Trends reports back then, you would have seen searches per month from this super high level where it was when it was new and novel and you had all those features down to like nothing. Like it was just on ether, right? It was like barely surviving. So that was back then. What's changed since then, right? What's changed? You know, even back then, like not that many people really used Messenger at all anyway. Facebook sort of like forced it down your throat. And for those that remember historically, it used to be an app within Facebook. So you just had the Facebook app on your phone and you would have Messenger. Then Facebook had grand plans for it and they're like, nope. They peeled it out, and so it was its own app. So you had the Facebook mobile app to go to Facebook, and then you had Messenger, this separate app. And then, you know, it had its ups and downs. Like Facebook Marketplace, all the communication would go on Messenger. Some people used it. Later on down the line, Instagram started growing to prominence, right? And the Instagram direct message box. And eventually they allowed that feature. Even earlier than this, Facebook bought WhatsApp. And WhatsApp's a really interesting story. Most Americans, maybe they've heard of it, or maybe, you know, you had to use it if you traveled abroad, and maybe you like rented an Airbnb and everyone's communicating on WhatsApp. So the Airbnb host told you to get it, or situations like that, relatives in Europe, friends in Europe, however it might be. But WhatsApp is a big deal too, right? And, you know, if we talk about China and why chatbots became such a big deal there, its forcing function was the difficulty of writing Mandarin. WhatsApp exploding in Europe, the forcing function which drove people into chatbots, and WhatsApp's just a chatbot, just like Messenger is, just like WeChat is in China, okay? What drove that adoption in Europe was all those small countries all together, as it is in Europe, all with different cell phone providers, none of which cooperate. So you would make these calls from Serbia to Latvia, or from England to Ireland, or from Spain to Belgium, right? And because you would be on different carriers, they would charge you like $85 a minute, and they would charge you like $1 a text message and everything else. So everyone in Europe just got fed up with that crap and just said, screw this, we're all going to just use an app. WhatsApp launched, everybody started using WhatsApp, and it became the de facto communication standard for all of Europe. From there, it just grew in concentric circles and became like the biggest communication app for the entire world, pretty much aside from, as far as I know, and there's some countries, I'm not sure how big it is in Africa. I'm not sure how big it is in Asia at a macro, although I think it is. I know it is, but it became just absolutely massive. Everyone started using it everywhere except China and America. China, because China doesn't allow any other apps aside from Chinese apps and operate in their country. In America, just because we don't have that problem. It's one big country. It didn't cost us money to send text messages or cell phones. They all just worked. And just to give this some teeth, Instagram, okay, a massive company that we all know, has, I think, 500 million daily active users, 500 million that daily use and engage Instagram, use that platform. WhatsApp has 2.3 billion daily active users, right? Crazy. I mean, an application that most people in the United States don't even know, and there's 2.3 billion users. Anyway, my point in all of that, China had the forcing function of their language. Europe had the forcing function of these ridiculous cell phone rules and text message rules, both of which forced their entire populations into chat interfaces, okay? So China, WeChat, Europe, rest of the world into WhatsApp. United States, we had no reason. No one adopted it. Yeah, every once in a while, you'd see it on a website. They'd be like, okay, here, use the chat. Or, you're getting support for something. Here, use the chat. But by and large, the vast majority of us went through our daily lives, weeks, months, years, and barely used chat at all. We just didn't. Messenger never really caught on in the United States. Yeah, okay, some people use Discord or Telegram, but that wasn't the norm. That wasn't the mainstream, right? Not at all. Well, I believe that the United States has finally had their forcing function, and really the whole world now has had their forcing function. Obviously, AI, GPT, ChatGPT, Claude, Grok, Gemini is finally driving this entire country into realizing that chat as an interface is a pretty handy UI, user experience, user interface, UI, UX, to do things. And more folks are getting comfortable doing so. I mean, there are people in their 90s, 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, 40s, 30s, 20s, teens that are now using chat to get all sorts of things done. And you start to realize, wow, this is pretty doggone handy. Wow, it is very, very efficient, because it just gets rid of all the fluff and just gives you this condensed what I need to navigate, get my things done, and get there. So I believe that the United States, as a result of AI, has finally had their chat moment. Okay. It just has a ton of advantages. There are so many things that are just so much better about it, rather than going to a website and navigating around. Just give me some simple buttons to push. It's an amazing thing, right? Okay, Patrick, get to the damn point here. My point is, I believe it is time to start taking chat marketing at a macro seriously again here in the United States. Yes, there was a great reason to do so in 16 and 17 with ManyChat and Messenger and everything that I offered. I argue that the LLMs and everyone understanding chat and getting comfortable with chat means chat is going to have a massive impact in the way that we live our lives. It already is doing so in 2025, and I think it's just going to be more and more prevalent in what we do in our marketing. And I think it's important to say that it is a macro point. The next decade of marketing is going to look drastically different than the marketing did previously. And that's going to manifest itself in a whole bunch of different ways, obviously with AI, but chat as an interface is something that we all need to take a whole lot more seriously, okay? And I'm here to tell you in this episode that the newest feature that Instagram just released that I am about to talk about has given all of us, every single creative listening to this episode, a reason to start taking the chatbot. It's essentially a chatbot, a chat interface that is Instagram direct messages, okay? The messaging platform that lives within Instagram, a whole lot more seriously as a marketing channel, okay? Everything has just changed. Now, before I lay this thing out, this update, this feature succinctly, I'm going to give you a little bit more context, okay? I actually never left ManyChat and doing chatbot marketing on both Facebook and Instagram. It's always just fascinated me personally, and I just absolutely love it. So I have been slow cooking over the years, in and out of being super passionate and less passionate about it, but it's remained, a valuable tool in my marketing toolkit as a marketer. It's always been on art storefronts. I've done things in there. You guys have seen messages. I've done the keyword thing where, type keyword such and such on this post and you'll automatically go in there, and I've delivered assets. A great many of you have been in there. I think, the art storefronts ManyChat account has something like 80 or 90,000 subscribers in it, right? So it's not a small amount of people. But, okay. The reason that you have not heard me talk about it on a bunch of these episodes, not come and give tactical teachings on it, have not encouraged you guys all to do it, is because it's always been sort of complicated to set up. It has a learning curve. It is not intuitive. It is not an easy thing for the average creative to bolt into their operation. And I wish it was easier. I wish it was simpler to understand, but it hasn't been up till now. It's a battle that those that are trying to sell the software to build these things has faced time immemorial. And, part of it has been that there hasn't been this forcing feature. Part of it has been that, like, I've run tests on a good 15 to 20 different customers, and after I'm there to help them with the test, or my team is after to help them with the test, they almost barely use it at all. I probably taught 50 artists how to use it, and there's probably 10 of them that are still doing it today. And so I've sort of made a judgment call based on that complexity. I don't need to be talking about it on here because it's just going to give you guys a shiny object you're going to go do instead of actually doing real marketing, and you're not going to take it seriously. In addition to that, if you don't have an account that's getting a ton of action, i.e. the more followers you have, the more engagement you have, the more valuable of a marketing stack, chatbot marketing via ManyChat on Instagram and on Messenger is. Okay, that's still true to this day. So that sort of just kept me from wanting to constantly come on here and podcast about it, or teach my customers about it, or continue running case studies on it, as I did so heavily back in 16 and 17. Well, what's changed? What's changed is their newest feature. It is so incredibly powerful that I feel like I can't remain silent anymore. For you guys, my loyal listeners, I would be uncomfortable if you learned about it somewhere else. Now, it's only been live for like 2 weeks, okay? But the most important social media platform for creatives of all stripes right now is Instagram. It was Instagram. It still is Instagram. That does not look to be changing anytime soon. Moreover, it's where the majority of you guys are spending the most time marketing your art, rightfully so. It's the most effective at generating sales. One of the hardest things to do, though, on Instagram is to get folks to take action, to actually go and click the link in your bio, to actually send you a direct message, to give you their email address, all of the things that we want folks to do, the calls to action on Instagram. One, they barely even let you do anything until you get to 10,000 followers. Two, the link in the bio is such a played out thing. Nobody likes to do that. And three, Instagram doesn't like it when people leave the platform, right? So while it's the most important, the most beneficial platform to get people's attention, which really, let's be honest, is driven by the fact that most Americans spend an inordinate amount of their day on it, right? Which is primarily why it's so important for creatives of all stripes. It's a visual platform. Everyone has a phone glued to their face 24/7. I don't like what that says about society, but it is what it is. We got to be contrarian, right? Well, this new feature changes that, okay? And ManyChat, this app, is sort of an official partner of Instagram and Meta, and has been for a great many years. They, I think, cook this up in tandem, or I don't know if other players have access to it. I doubt it, or maybe they will get it soon. But what this allows you to do succinctly is, if you have ManyChat stitched up to your Instagram account, I'll get to the nuts and bolts of that in just a second. Instagram has made it where if somebody follows your account, okay, so they see one of your posts, they get recommended, they click the Instagram link in your bio or in your footer on your website, they go to your Instagram account and they follow you. Instagram with ManyChat now allows you to send a one-time, you only get to do this one time, a one-time message directly to the Instagram DM box. Okay? Instagram DM box, again, essentially a chat bot. Why I'm bringing up this whole chat interface, it's essentially what it is. It's a chat interface, no different than OpenAI, or no different than text messages, or no different than Messenger, or no different than WeChat, or no different than WhatsApp, okay? It's just a chat bot. This is a big deal, you guys. If you stitch this up and I follow your account, the minute that I do, your system automatically will send a direct message to me that ends up in my Instagram direct messages. Folks don't have to click any links. They don't have to leave Instagram. Instagram does not want anyone leaving Instagram ever. They don't have to go to your website. They don't have to do anything. They just get an automated message from you directly into their Instagram inbox, which I might add has a significantly higher open rate than does an email. Significantly higher. Now, it's not for 100% of users. Some are technically challenged and don't even know that there's a direct message inbox on Instagram, but the vast majority do. And this is just a mega powerful feature. Now, ManyChat, this application I'm going to talk about, that I have talked about, going all the way back to 16, it allows you to do just about anything with that message. You can thank them for following you and start a conversation. You can offer them a free gift. You can capture their email address. You can capture their phone number. And all of that can 100% be done on autopilot inside of Instagram without them leaving the platform, basically inside Instagram's chatbot. And at first glance, perhaps that doesn't sound like a big deal to you as you listen to this. Let me just tell you, this is a big 3 times 4 emphasis deal. All you have to do is be creative, post as much as you can, and grow your following. And this setup will automatically send messages on your behalf to everyone that follows you. It works all day. It works all night without you lifting a finger. Okay. That is a big deal. Does it have some rubs? It does. Rub number 1. I know most folks hate adding new services. Another thing to pay for, you have to pay for this. The cost is $15 per month to get started on ManyChat Pro, which unlocks this feature, and it'll stay $15 until you get over 500 followers. For most of you, that's going to take a long time, non-issue, right? Rub number 2, you have to be getting new followers, okay, for it to be worth it, right? If you're only getting 1 new follower a month, not worth it. If you're getting anything more than 50, worth it, okay? Worth it. One conversation with one of those 50 new followers that you otherwise would not have had will turn into sales. It just will. It will turn into commissions. It will turn into gigs with interior decorators. It will turn into conversations that you just weren't having at all, okay? And that being said, it's also really hard for you guys that are not doing in-person shows and fairs and events to capture email addresses. I know this. I've been grinding on this for 10 years with you, okay? In-person events, artists capture emails at an incredible rate. Those that are running contests like we advise, their artists are capturing them at an incredible rate. But the number of artists that I meet on a regular basis, even the ones that have significant businesses, you know, doing 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, well into 6 figures, most of those folks have like email lists of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. The reason for that is it's difficult to capture emails, especially in a digital context. This makes it so easy. Okay. So easy. Now, I will say broadly that ManyChat as a piece of software is kind of like the kitchen inside like a Michelin star restaurant. Okay. The gadgets, the devices, the pans, the ovens, the cartouches. I just saw somebody doing a cartouche on some braised ribs, made me think of it. It's a ton of stuff that you probably have no idea how to use, okay? It's really advanced. There's bells, there's whistles, there's things, there's this, there's that. That's why I've not been wanting to teach it to everybody or talk about it all the time, because it is so damn complicated. That being said, there's also just a stove in there, okay? And likely some stainless steel frying pans, maybe carbon steel. You can put one of those frying pans on the burner, throw your tortilla in there and heat it up if that is the sum total of your cooking prowess, okay? And you can ignore all of that other stuff. 2 weeks previous to this, I would not be recording this episode. The fact that everyone that follows your account, you can send a message to, fundamentally changes the game. It just fundamentally changes the game. So here's what I'm going to do, okay? My strongest recommendation is that if you are growing your followers by anything over 50 a month, especially up from there, you need to add this to your stack. You just absolutely are going to pay the $15 a month. You're going to add this to your stack. You're going to turn this automation on, and you're going to continue marketing consistently on Instagram and let this thing work for you on autopilot. Okay. Now, in the show notes, I am going to show you how I am currently leveraging it. Okay. And obviously, I'm going to iterate on it like crazy. So depending on when you listen to this, if it's a year down the line, who knows what will be going on. But for those of you that are hearing this now, it's November 13th as I record this. I will put a link in the show notes that says try my automation or whatever the heck it says. It'll be the first link. Click it. It will throw you directly into Instagram. And if you've never seen what's capable of a bot operating in Instagram, once you see it, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, that was so fast, so easy, so slick. I barely had to do anything. And instantaneously, I'm back to my mindless doom scrolling on Instagram. That's how easy it is. It's how incredible it is. It's why I love chat. So number one, I'm going to put a link in the show notes to how I'm leveraging it. And let me just tell you, the sheer volume of emails that I am capturing as a result of this feature on the Art Storefronts account. Now, granted, the Art Storefronts account has 175,000 followers on it, something like that. We drive a ton of followers every week. So obviously it's very, very, very effective for me. But what I'm doing is you'll see when you go in there, and I think all of you guys should go in there. If you don't, if you're like, I don't even understand what he's talking about, this sounds like gibberish. Click the link, go in. It'll open your Instagram app. It'll throw you right into it. You can see it. But I'm offering everyone the Instagram audit. You heard me mention that in the last episode. Incredible product, amazing, and the sheer volume of people that are clicking it is staggering. Okay, and for you guys, go through that flow. Understand it, and you'll get an Instagram audit out of it, which is really cool. I'm also going to put a couple of tutorials that I found just by searching YouTube before I started this episode. I haven't even watched them, but they will walk you through how to set it up for the ones that have the temerity to go and launch this immediately. That's what I'm going to do. Pending the feedback on this, I'll likely grab one of those aforementioned customers that I know already has ManyChat and run a case study with them. And I might even just do an entire live broadcast, grab Hava, grab Meg, maybe grab Johnny. Anyway, I'll grab one of them and walk you guys through the whole thing, how I set the whole thing up from scratch. That could be super fun to do, and show you how to do the whole thing. But summing things up, you guys, chat as an interface, chat bots out of macro are an interface of the future. And the whole world understands how to drive them. The Instagram DM box is just a chat bot when you leverage it correctly. I believe that this interface is here to stay and that more and more folks are going to use it. As a result of the AI doing what AI is doing, the US is finally having its tipping point moment with them. And there's a ton of data for this already. Obviously, just the sheer volume of people using chat now, it's out of control. So it makes a ton of sense, okay? Independent of this shiny new feature from ManyChat and Instagram, to start leaning into it, to learning how to leverage them for our art marketing. There's no better place to do so for creatives of all stripes than Instagram. So this just ticks all the boxes, you guys. This feature is it's time to dip your toe in the water right now, Gateway. It just is, to get this into your marketing stack. And if you're actively marketing on Instagram right now, turn this podcast off, go through my sample flow, watch the YouTube video, pay your $15, and come on in. The water is just fine. More to come on future episodes. Get going on your Q4 marketing. Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming. And as always, thanks for listening. Have a great day.